This is the dollar index. For the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, price has been ranging sideways. So it's no surprise that we've been seeing price moving in a confused manner. 1 month we are up, the next month we are down. When we go to the weekly time frame, you're going to see things clearly. If you remember, if you've been following this channel, I've been calling out these two zones here, this resistance above and this trend line below. Right, I'm actually waiting for price to actually take out this resistance above, because if we do, which simply means we must have created a new higher high breaking above this previous high, and then I'll expect price to rally all the way to the upside. And if we break below this trend line, then I'll expect price to keep dropping all the way to the downside here, at least to 12646, right? By the way, I use the Dow Jones Dollar Index. The broker is FXCM, so you can search that on your trading view so that you can keep track of what I'm talking about. As long as we remain trapped within these zones, we are still going to find confusion. We are going to experience confusion in the market. But well, my job is to come here every week and tell you what I'm looking at going into a new week. So let's go to the daily time frame. Now, on the daily time frame, it's obvious how we closed for Friday. You can see the strong bearish candle thanks to NFP, right? Of course, for next week, I'll be expecting price to keep dropping all the way to this trend line and probably even take out the trend line. But I'm not looking at price taking out the trend line just yet, at least until we take out the trend line, okay? But for next week, I will be expecting price to drop further into the trend line on the daily time frame. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, it's obvious that we've created a head and shoulders pattern. In case you're wondering, yes, this is actually a head and shoulders pattern, and obviously you can see how price has taken out the trend line. Mind you, we have CPI lined up for next week, right? The consumer price index, and it's actually one of the strongest news in Forex, okay? So for the early part of next week, I won't be surprised if I see price pull back, because we've seen a significant drop. So I won't be surprised if I see price pull back into this area here, all right, before we finally drop down into this trend line and probably break below it, all right? But for now, I'm looking at the trend line, not below the trend line. But breaking below the trend line is a possibility. Now, since I don't place trades on dollar index, I just use it to gauge the strength or weakness of the US dollar. I'm going to switch over to some dollar pairs. Let's go see what we should be looking at for next week. Let's start from the weekly time frame. If you've been following this channel, you know I've been talking about this zone on the weekly time frame. When price was trading around here, I actually called your attention to the fact that I'll be expecting price to pull back into this zone before we blast higher. And as you can see, even last week, or let me say last 2 weeks, if you watch last 2 weeks video, when we close with this dodgy candle, I actually called your attention to the fact that I'll be expecting a bullish continuation this week. So now let's go to the daily time frame. Before we continue, if you have made it this far, kindly smash the subscribe button, like this video, and also share to like minds, all right, so that this help this video go viral. All right, so let's continue. On the daily time frame, when price was trading around here, I actually predicted price to pull back into this zone, and that was when I drew this arrow that you can see here. So I actually predicted price dropping into this zone before blasting all the way to the upside, and that is exactly what price has done. Remember in our last video, I'm referring to last week's video, I talked about price taking out this trend line so that we can keep going to the upside, or if price doesn't take out this trend line, I'll be expecting price to come into this zone, and if I see a good rejection, I'll buy into the market and I'll swing it all the way to this zone. And that was exactly what I did. Currently, as you can see, I'm floating 7% on this trade. All right, when it dropped, when it didn't break above the trend line, when it dropped into this zone, I got into the trade and I held all week. On my swing account, not my prop firm account, I think I'm only up like 2% last week on my prop firm account, all right? So this is the benefit of swing trading. So I'm 7% up on this account, but let's go back and look for trading opportunities for next week. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, now that we are trading at this target, you can obviously see, let me even delete this. All right, you can obviously see, just like the dollar index, that we now have an inverse head and shoulders pattern at a key area. In case you are wondering what key area I'm talking about, I'm going to show you right now. If I zoom out this chart, or if I go to the daily time frame, you will notice that this zone, even if I go to the weekly time frame, this is the zone I'm talking about, by the way. But let me go to the weekly time frame so that you understand what I'm talking about. Now, on this weekly time frame, how do you recognize, or how do you identify a key area? A key area is an area that price has tested multiple times looking left. By looking left, I mean this is where price is currently. So what I mean by looking left is to look left, all right? And if you look left, you can notice how price has used here as a level of resistance before, as a level of support, as a level of resistance, as a level of resistance, and now it looks like price is using it as a level of support. If I even decide to go further left, if I do this, go further left, you will see that we've used that zone as level of support also previously. So this is a key area. So when I go back to the 4-hour time frame, what I'm trying to tell you is now we have an inverse head and shoulders at a key level. At a key level. So what should I be expecting next week, guys? I'm expecting bullish continuation. I know the market has been acting crazy, but for now, what I'm expecting is bullish continuation on GBPUSD. And we have the neckline here. Let me even plot the neckline here. Let me plot it out nicely. I think this is the neckline. So let me just delete this, my entry. I'm going to put it back later. Now that we are trading at this important zone at the top here also, right? So I won't be surprised if I see some kind of a pullback next week. So two things I will be expecting to see next week is this. We either come into this zone before we go bullish, or we go straight up, break above this zone, create a new higher high, breaking above this previous high, then come back for a retest before going bullish. Now, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. So it's either we drop all the way from here into 1.27259 area before we continue bullish, or my second outlook will be for price to keep blasting higher, maybe at market open next week, then come back. I want to see a clean break to the upside, then a retest to this price area here before we continue pushing higher. Don't forget my initial target is 1.31747, but that's still far away, so we are just going to take it one step at a time. So we either drop back into here before I go bullish, or break above here, come back for a retest before I go bullish. Of course, you can switch to a lower time frame when you see price approaching any of these zones. You can even go to the 15 minutes time frame when you see price approaching any of these zones, so that you can take advantage and jump into the market earlier with a tighter stop loss and maximum profit. Okay, so that's GBPUSD in a nutshell. Let's go to EURUSD. Before I continue, guys, I am on transit. You may have noticed that I'm not using my regular PC. All right, so this is a borrowed PC, right? But I'll be back before market open, so that was why I didn't have any need to go my PC. I had to travel at Friday evening, so I know I'll be back before market open. So but I just felt like, okay, I didn't have any plan actually to do this video for you guys this week, but I felt like no, I shouldn't leave you guys hanging or out in the cold, so I had to just look for a PC. And so this video is not going to be like the other regular video, so just bear with me, guys. Okay, they just focus on the information provided in this video, not the production. All right, we'll go back to our normal quality next week. So yes, if you watched, first of all, this is EURUSD, by the way. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Remember last week when we closed, last 2 weeks, when we closed last 2 weeks with this dodgy candle, I talked about the possibility of price coming into this resistance here, which is 1.10767, right? And I also mentioned the fact that price could easily keep dropping lower into this zone or push higher into this zone. Then I now went to the smaller time frames. And before we go to the smaller time frame, you can see, obviously, this is the daily time frame. You can clearly see how we closed for Friday. So what should you be expecting next week? So we should be expecting further upside. All right. So what I mean is, you can see how price is creating higher lows. This is a low before, then this is a higher low. Then price is creating a new higher low here, right? So as you can see, we are still in an uptrending market for now. All right, so you can obviously see the candle with which we closed on Friday. So this looks like a bullish flag pattern. If you check this out, this is the flag pole, this is the flag itself, and price has broken out of that zone. So it looks like price is going to keep going higher to the upside, right? So what should we be looking for? Bullish continuation. Personally, I'll be looking for bullish continuations come next week. But let's go to the 4-hour time frame. If you remember, I talked about, in my last video, I talked about price dropping into this trend line. I gave you two zones. I said if price breaks above this trend line here, this upper trend line here, this is the 4-hour time frame, by the way, that I'm going to buy into the resistance. And if price breaks below this trend line, then I'm going to sell all the way to the downside here. Then I also went to the 1 hour time frame, if you remember, and I gave you, I drew another trend line inside these two trend lines here, right? So I drew another one that if price breaks out of this trend line, that is a good time to buy. And obviously, price stalled throughout last week until Friday before we eventually broke above that zone. But the bottom line is price respected our analysis as usual. So it also gave us 3 touches at the bottom. So obviously, price is going to keep going higher. However, price may come into this zone early next week, maybe give us some kind of a pullback. I'm talking about this zone. Come into this zone next week, give us some kind of a pullback, maybe into one of these levels here. Let me even plot that level properly so that you can see the possible levels I may be expecting price to come into. Maybe here. Okay, it's a tricky one. The chart is actually not as clean as I want it to be, but if we're going to see a pullback, then this may likely happen. We may get a pullback into 1.09162 area before we continue higher. All right, so my overall target is this resistance here, which is 1.10767 for now. All right, alternatively, if price fails to give us this deep pullback and then price decides to break above this zone, then wait for a pullback, guys. Wait for a pullback. Then when we get the pullback, we can now trade all the way to the upside here, which is my initial take profit target. You can pause this video, take screenshots, and go and plot this on your chart. That's totally fine. I think that's Euro USD in a nutshell. Let's look at USD CHF. USD CHF, if you followed my last week's video, price also played out perfectly. All right, we closed with a dodgy candle in my last video. Then I also, in my last video, I predicted that price was going to keep dropping all the way to the downside. All right, so for now, I'm expecting price to come into either of these zones, 0.88251 or 0.87664. all right, those are my 2 targets. So if we come here and we fail to see a strong rejection to keep going bullish and we we'll break below, then I'll be expecting price to come into this support level below here. All right, however, price played out perfectly, just like I said from our last video. Let's go to the daily time frame. I skipped the daily time frame. I remember skipping the daily time frame from our last video. So I came to the 4 hour time frame and I drew 2 zones. I also called your attention to the fact that price has been respecting this upper trend line, and it has also been respecting this lower trend line. And I specifically said I'll be expecting price to break below the trend line and this zone here, go back for a retest before we continue to the downside. And that was exactly what price did. Price played out perfectly. All right, if not because I'm already on a swing trade on GBPUSD, I would have swinged this one also, but you know what, I just decided to let it go. All right, so now for next week, what will I be expecting? Obviously I'll be expecting price to come into this zone, all right, before dropping to the downside. I mean, look at this impulsive move. Price is not just going to keep dropping straight up all the way to the downside. No, it's going to give us a pullback, hopefully into this zone. The zone I'm talking about is between 0.89213 and 0.89081. So I'll be expecting price to come into any of those zones. Then we'll start looking for bearish continuation from inside this zone. All right, before we drop all the way to the downside. USD CHF, I am super bearish for next week. All right, so that takes us to gold. Gold has been playing. All right, gold has been playing around. And as you can see, price looks choppy. Let's even go to the weekly time frame. Let's see how we closed for last week. Gold, I also told you that overall I'm expecting gold to drop. I'm expecting gold to drop all the way to the downside, but I'm also expecting gold to stall within this area. I mentioned this in our last video. You can go watch it. So I actually said I would like to see gold stall within this area. All right, gold will stall within this area on the weekly time frame, so before we drop. But overall, guys, I am bearish on gold. But this is the daily time frame. Obviously, price is ranging. You can see how we've been moving sideways since last week. Right? Is it last week? Since the 22nd of June 2023 and the 7th of July. Am I right? Yeah. The 7th of July 2023, price has been moving sideways on the daily time frame. Yes, on the lower time frames, we've been catching trades, but I still stick with my last week's analysis. I would like to see price come into this area before we see a rejection to the downside. Mind you, my overall target on gold remains 1,800, but I won't be surprised if we remain bullish next week. All right, so that's what I'll be expecting by default. I'll be expecting a bullish gold. Actually, I don't have any zone on the lower time frame, so I'm just going to be watching gold, and I'm going to be dropping updates on the Telegram channel. So if you're not on the Telegram channel, the link is in the description of this video down below, so go join so that you can receive updates from me from time to time. All right, so right here on gold, obviously it looks like we are creating inverse head and shoulders pattern, as you can see. So this is automatically the neckline. So what will happen is price is actually trading close. Even if we take out this trend line, price is actually trading close to my overall sell zone. This is my overall sell zone. So fine, if we break above the neckline, I'm not going to be buying. All right, so but if we now break above this zone that I'm actually expecting sell signal from, and maybe we fail to see that rejection to start selling, and let's say we break above that zone, in case you're wondering what zone it is, I'm talking about 1940 and 1937 area, 1936 area. Okay, so if we break above it, then I'll start looking for bullish opportunity. But for now, I can't find anything interesting on gold, so I'm just going to let it be for now. All right, so guys, permit me to just stop here. It's a quick video. Like I said, I'm not at my base. This is not even my PC, it's a borrowed PC. But if you made it to the end of this video, I truly appreciate. And if you are yet to subscribe, do us a favor by smashing that subscribe button, like this video, and don't forget to share with your trader friends also. All right, so with that, I think there's nothing more to talk about. If you have any question or any suggestion, I'd like you to leave us a message in the comment section down below. And of course, if you want to know how to trade like me, analyze the market like me, the link to our mentorship program is down below. It's very cheap. We have one for $85 and the other for $300. Just for more information, just click the link in the description of this video down below. So once again, thanks for staying to the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.